In the Hearts and Minds, Book 0, The Birth of a Hero. Story 22. Time was stop. Naughty, Iago breathed, coughing out some of the bitter and some of the charcoal. He reached her in an instant, or maybe it took him an hour to wade through the grass. He never lost sight of her, though, not ever. Iago's hands went into her hair, so tangled and ashy it leaked black onto his fingers. She melted into him. He couldn't help but assign a momentous weight to it. This was what it felt like to wrap her in his arms. This was how much she weighed against him. This was how her skin felt. This was her hair, her breath, her heart beating against his. Though it wasn't the time nor the situation, he grabbed her cheeks, his gross hands smudging dirt against her lips. Tears leaked down in a constant stream, but he had no power to stop those anymore. He wondered why he wasn't crying. Maybe because he knew. This was his choice, and for once, he would make the right one. "I need you to go," Iago said, and as if he'd been summoned, that speedster Frosted blipped into sight. Iago met the kid's eyes. They might be a similar age, but Iago could only see him as a child. He couldn't say why, only that things had changed in these last years. This kid was forced to stay the same, stay young. But Iago had been forced to age. "Tell me that's not yours." The speedster tipped his chin toward Pinata's stomach. How could he tell? It was only a bump. "Tell me you didn't make something so dangerous." "It just happened," Iago replied calmly. "What does it matter?" The Frosted tipped his head back, staring up at the smoke-filled sky and choked-out stars. "Are you saying you don't know?" "No," Iago said. "I do." Iago knew all about the embryo experiments to create Frosted that were born as Frosted. He knew they were failing, and he knew they'd follow Pinata to the ends of the earth to get a hold of their baby. "What?" Pinata sniffled loudly. "Who is this?" Iago met the kid's tired gaze calmly. "This is who's gonna take you away." "What?" Pinata jumped at him, almost as if she were trying to fuse herself to his body. "No, I'm not leaving you." "It's all right," Iago said, proud that he didn't immediately wince at how stupid that sounded. "This is Arlie's brother, right?" The kid looked away, grinding his jaw just like a kid caught hiding their semester's grades from their parents. "You a mind reader too? Do you know my parents, or is that the limit of your powers?" "I'm not a mind reader," Iago said. "I just pay attention." And the bluesies certainly helped. Not that he was going to say that to this grump. He turned back to Pinata, Dolphin's vine secured all the way up her side. Her hands gripped his forearms, claws denting his skin. "Why are you smiling right now?" Pinata hiccuped. Iago cupped her ears, nuzzling his nose against hers. "I can't help it," he said. "You make me smile even when the world's ending." Pinata sobbed, and her face morphed into something like a mask of tragedy. No eyes, no skin, just open holes of pain. Iago kissed her anyway. She made a little squeak of surprise, and he heard the speedster kid sigh in disgust. He was definitely Arlie's brother. "How will you find me?" Pinata asked against his lips. "Trust that I will," he said. Then he let her go. "Take her far," Iago told the Frosted, who only glowered, mumbling under his breath about being bossed around by some stupid terrorist who he didn't even like anyway, and if it wasn't for his stupid sibling, Burrow. Iago wrapped one hand around the plant at his neck. With Rowley still as leafy as a giant shield, and Dolphin gone, Iago should have felt weird. Weirder than weird. About as weird as when he'd first been steeped. There wasn't time for that. The bud at his collar had incubated for years. Iago didn't know much about these weird powers he'd been given. How could sugar do this to people? In such wild extremes, one to the next. Each of his plants had morphed into something wholly their own. He wasn't some nature god, capable of miracles. But if he'd learned anything, it was that his plants could evolve, just as he could. Perhaps Truvia had made a mistake all those years ago. Rather than farm the sugar cane outside in nature, they'd taken over the sweets industry purely by inventing chemicals in their factories and labs. The first frosted had awakened not in a government building's basement, but in their homes or on their way to work. It was always violent. Always. That was how it all began. Fear spread. It was like a curse, a disease. Nobody wanted to be nearby when it happened. Nobody wanted to be acquainted with it. It would taint them too. But instead of recalling whatever disastrous concoction they had created, Truvia had decided to hone it, use it, cultivate it. What they hadn't realized was the power of the individuals they chose to ruin. Did anyone ever foresee someone like Vardy Hamilton, capable of stopping anything she wanted? Did anyone foresee speedsters that could overtake fighter jets without destroying their bodies? Did anyone foresee him, some kid stuffed with plants, capable of making a sword, a shield, and... "It's time," Iago said, stepping out of the grass. Vardy Hamilton hadn't moved, her hunter's gaze locked onto his every step. He wasn't scared of a ruined thing like her. He wasn't scared of anything anymore.